archiving their experiences, we had as many as 400 members. Today, there are fewer than 24. We can track the growing attrition by the literature. When my book describing the Marianas Turkey shoot of World War II, Clash of the Carriers, was published in 2005, 1/4 of the contributors were already deceased. When my history Enterprise, America's Fightingest Ship and the Men Who Won World War II, was released 7 years later, fewer than half were still alive. And when my study of U.S. Marine Corps fighter squadrons of World War II was published in 2014, only one of my flying leathernecks remained. Everyone who writes World War II history has experienced similar loss, which is why Colin Heaton and Anne-Marie Lewis's work is so valuable. The variety of subjects they have recorded spans services, nations, and conflicts. Very few interviews like these could be conducted today because the subjects have, in aviation terms, departed the pattern. Therefore, those of us who knew and recorded the deeds and, equally importantly, the thoughts of the survivors represent a rare chronological link, a bridge across time. We have long since lost all the World War I veterans, and I knew only 4 Great War airmen. Absent the dedicated work of colleagues who focused on first-generation aviators, we would have little to access a century later. Of the 5 subjects in this volume, I knew 3: Jimmy Doolittle, Robin Olds, and Bob Johnson. I wrote the first posthumous biography of Curtis LeMay and cannot believe that I passed up a prior chance to meet him. When I was dining at the storied Newport 17 restaurant in Tustin, California, with Marine Corps Medal of Honor ace Ken Walsh in the 1970s, LeMay was seated across the room with friends. Ken offered to introduce us, but I was reluctant to intrude. The memories come flooding back. General Jimmy's precise British manner of speaking, aeroplane, and chap. Robin's deceptively soft voice, concealing that upfront red meat brand of leadership. Johnson's slight build, seeming in conflict with the Thunderbolt's large cockpit. I can only regret that I never met Edward Haydon, as his story too is obviously well worth reading. The factual accounting of military figures gains in importance as myth and legend increasingly grasp the public's mind. Examples flourish. Gregory Boyington did not shoot down 28 airplanes, and he has never been the U.S. Marines' leading ace, however reckoned. The Corps' scandalous treatment of Medal of Honor fighter pilot Joe Foss should shame the Corps, but does not. Foss should rightly be the leading Marine Corps ace in World War II, not Boyington. George Gay, Battle of Midway, was not the sole survivor of Torpedo 8, though he made that claim for a half-century. The Tuskegee Airmen did not have a perfect record on bomber escort and produced no aces. Other examples abound. As Colin Heaton and Anne-Marie Lewis will attest, the mantra takes greater importance today than ever. Do it now. Barrett Tillman, April 2020.
Colin Heaton is one of the foremost experts in the area of World War II oral history, having interviewed in the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s many key German and American personalities of the war. His new book presents new primary source material on some of the greatest leaders the United States Army Air Forces, now the United States Air Force, has ever produced. Heaton here focuses on General James Jimmy Doolittle, General Curtis LeMay, Colonel Edward Ross Buddy Haydon, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Samuel Johnson, and Brigadier General Robin Olds, presenting the first-person recollections of these 5 American Air Force leaders when they were in the twilight of their lives and full of recollections and analyses. Their personal and personable narratives offer military enthusiasts an intimate understanding of their upbringing, their military service, their thoughts as leaders and fighting men, and their reflections on the history they helped to create. An overview of these men's lives shows shared traits generally ascribed to the American spirit.